Welcome, Planeswalkers, to the Collector Mania YouTube channel. My name is Eric Ward. I'm going to go through the Ghalta Primal Hunger Brew Preview for Rivals of Ixalan. If you haven't seen Ghalta Primal Hunger, it is a 12 cost, 12/12, so 10 and 2 green legendary Elder Dinosaur who gets cheaper based off the power of creatures you control and has trample. So let's break into it really quick. The whole idea of the Brew Preview here is ways to maybe cheat out this card as soon as you can with some odd power toughness creatures, maybe some under costed power creatures, and then just some wacky stuff you can do once he's in play. So the first thing I thought of, how could you get this guy out or get some benefits? Zavala, if you've played against or with a Zavala deck, Heart of the Wilds, she's really good at encouraging the biggest creature to come out of your deck, most likely, if you're prepared for it. She's mono green, and if you look at the activated ability here, pay a green, tap, add X mana in any color combination to your pool where X is the greatest power amongst creatures you control. So if you think about it, if she's the only thing on the board, your next turn you can tap for 2 green. You know, it'll cost you green, but the idea is you're going to add more and more with the larger creatures you have. And if it's the largest creature, you get to draw. So pretty good card there, especially to kind of fuel this deck. The next thing we'll look at here is Ronus the Indomitable. Here you can see for 3 mana you get a 5/5. They're a little different from the other gods, like from Theros, as far as this is a creature. It just can't attack or block. So right away you're paying 3 to get 5 mana to cast your commander. And some good abilities there as well. Here you can see a Looping Prototype. A really cheap one for 2. You can get a 5/5 that just can't attack or block. But you're making your commander cost 5 less. If you think about it, your commander now costs 7. On turn 3 it'll cost 7, so it's pretty affordable. This card likely won't do anything else, but it's a good way to, and you'll see a little bit more to maybe work with this 5 power in the future, but a really good way to afford yourself some mana. Old Growth Dryads, for a single green you can get 3. Of course you get your opponent's basic land tapped. Hopefully that's worth it if you're playing a 12/12 Trampler at the end. And now we kind of break into some of the pump spells here that will help like beef up something you've got. Probably the best one that I could find was Berserk. Until end of turn, target creature like doubles its power essentially and gains trample. You do have to sacrifice at end of turn, so if you think about, let's say turn 2 you play your Looping Prototype. Turn 3 you untap, play a Berserk. Now your Looping Prototype can't attack or block, but is a 10/10. You can tap your other 2 green to pay for your commander on turn 3. So pretty good there. Obviously you've gotten rid of your Prototype or any 5/5 or something like that, but getting a 12/12 Trampler on turn 3 is pretty good. You can see Might of Volcarosa. If you play this one during your main phase, it gets +4/+4. So if you have a creature, give it +4/+4 during your main. Now you've got hopefully at least 5 mana, hopefully, or even just 4 to cast towards your commander. Invigorate, very similar, except you can pay life for this one. So pay or give somebody 3 life, and target creature gets +4/+4. Pretty good. Primal Bellow is pretty sweet, and you'll see it's related to another card in here. For a single green, gets +1/+1 for each forest you control. So that can get really out of hand. If you think about, let's say you've got five forests in play, pay one of them, you still have 4 mana open. Now your creature's got, let's say, at least 1 base power toughness. Now it's got, ++ equal to your forests, and then you've got 4 mana left to tap on top of that. So really good there. Groundswell, very similar. It's got a landfall ability. If you've played a land this turn, it gets +4/+4 for a single green. And this one, just like the Primal Bellow, is Dungrove Elder. Hexproof, power and toughness equal to number of forests you control. So again, if you Primal Bellow a Dungrove Elder with 5 forests in play, you're, I guess, too short of your commander. So hopefully you've got a Mana Dork or 2 or something. Dungrove is like perfect for this deck, especially in mono green EDH. Kind of some rebuilding potential here, and then of course just like kind of cheap, awesome power, the Primeval Protector. It does cost 11, but you can see in his text box, costs 1 less to cast for each creature your opponent controls. So if somebody's running a token deck or you just got wiped or something, you could play him hopefully pretty easily, and then play Ghalta pretty easily as well. And when he comes into play, each guy gets a +1/+1, so even if you don't have enough quite yet, you can hopefully pump everything up. One other enabler, this is actually my mono green commander, Omnath, Locus of Mana. You can tap green essentially into him, store your green mana between turns, and he gets +1/+1 for each green in your pool. So if you store a bunch of mana, you know, untap next turn, you may not even have to use any of that mana because he could be a 9/9 or whatever. Just tap a few forest, and then all of a sudden you've got your commander. Some kind of tricksy ones here. We have Sylvan Offering from, I think, one of the commander sets originally, but choose an opponent that you and that player each get a green tree folk, or excuse me, green XX tree folk, and choose another, or an opponent, you and that player get that many elves as well. So if you think about it, if you're tapping this for 4, you get a 4/4 tree folk guy and 4/1/1 elves. So 8 power for 5 mana, and it just kind of gets better and better the more you spend on it. Can get really, really good there. One planeswalker I'd like to include would be Garruk Wildspeaker. I initially like this card coming from standard and other EDH decks just for the +1 of untap 2 lands. But if you look below that, making a 3/3 beast every turn for no mana is pretty good. If you play Garruk, hopefully turn 4 at the latest. Not the latest, but that's like non-magical Christmas land. Make a beast. Turn 5, make another beast. Right away, you've got 4 mana and 6 in your beasts, and then you can play your commander for 2. So very feasible there. Of course, there's a whole bunch of dorks. Mana dorks is, I guess, the term for guys that just make a mana on their own. Llanowar for a single green, that could get you that Garruk play a turn earlier, essentially. And with some of the pumps, he could maybe have 2 power and add a little bit more to Ghalta's like reduction there. Burgeoning's a great one if you haven't seen it. Luckily got a reprint. Whenever an opponent plays land, you can play a land. I've mulliganed away planeswalkers with this card in hand. Just with the old partial rules, I guess those aren't around anymore. But yeah, Burgeoning, man, that one is a great addition. Ronus's Monument as well, just making things a little bit cheaper. Green creature spells cost 1 less, and whenever you cast a creature spell, target creature gets +2/+2 and trample until end of turn. So if you think about playing an 0/1 even, it's going to be cheaper now, and you've got 2 toughness or 2 powers worth of mana to play your commander with. Some lands, of course, Growing Rights of Itlimoc, excuse me. I don't think this is going to be too hard to have 4 creatures to flip this card. Of course, the other side says on the second ability, add a green for each creature you control. That could get really out of hand really quick, just to help play your commander. So hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Hopefully this is a good kind of starting point for Ghalta Primal Hunger. If you guys have any others that you'd like to add on the list, add them in the comments. I'm sure people will be watching and looking for a few more additions. And check out the other Rivals of Ixalan Brew Previews for the other legendaries. Thanks, guys. We'll catch you next time.